film and TV, it's like you show up and it's kind of like, this is the woman playing your wife of 30 years. Nice to meet you, Barbara. And action, you know.
If you were talking about the best, The Office certainly has a place in the conversation.
I didn't want to say it, but I appreciate you saying that. But no, I think we'd all agree that we were the rightful winners those 3 years in a row. But obviously, you know, I'm one of the great lovers.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who knows me privately, Romesh, can confirm that.
Yeah.
Every time someone tells me something like, you know, well, I discovered at the age of 25 that my father's not my real father. I'm like, you lucky bastard. It was like the Battle of the Somme as a kid, and you're marching forward, and your friends are getting taken down around you by bullying or abuse or, you know, being ostracized, and you can't look left or right. You've just got to keep marching forward. You know what I mean? Hoping that you don't get taken down next. Hi, I'm 3-time BAFTA winner Stephen Merchant, and I'm going to be on the Romesh Ranganathan podcast. Enjoy it.
It's the Romesh Ranganathan Show.
Oh, shut up, Romesh.
Thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I'm going to do an intro for you now.
Let's go for it.
Now, full disclosure, we haven't got one right yet.
Okay.
In terms of like the facts and stuff. So I'd love you to sort of listen quite carefully.
Wow, I love that.
But what I'm saying is...
Don't be offended.
Well, don't be offended, and also it requires a bit of scrutiny.
Yeah.
My guest today is a BAFTA, Emmy and Golden Globe winning actor, writer, director and comedian. Any disputes?
No, so far so good.
He's one of the forefathers of podcasting. Happy with that?
Definitely.
Co-created the seminal comedy series The Office and Extras. Mm-hmm. He has since toured his own stand-up, starred in his own HBO sitcom Hello Ladies, directed wrestling comedy Fighting With My Family, and played a serial killer in a BBC drama series.
Yep.
He's also had time to make 3 seasons of the comedy drama Outlaws. Now he's guest starring in the latest season of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, and is appearing in Netflix's new Christmas movie Goodbye June, directed by Kate Winslet.
Yes.
He makes me feel really shit about my career. It's Stephen Merchant, everybody.
Yay!
Now, what did you think?
I thought that went well.
Yeah?
I thought that was good. That was solid. It was packed with information.
Yeah.
I was testing out one of the ChatGPT type things just to see how they worked, and I asked how many BAFTAs as Stephen Merchant won.
Yeah.
And it consistently got it wrong. It said 1. I thought, well, that's not right. We all know it's 3.
Yeah.
And I said again, to it again, oh, can you check that, please? And it went, he's won none. And I thought, and it would never get it right.
Do you think ChatGPT then thought, if you're going to be a prick about it,
I think it was.
You've got none.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, if that was written by, you know, any kind of AI, it did a great job.
Yeah.
Great,
good. Well, thank you so much. Yeah. How are you generally?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks very much. Yeah, working out a lot. You can probably tell.
Yeah. I wanted to answer, but I wanted to check. I didn't even notice. I actually checked out your form. What sort of working out are you doing?
I don't know what it is. I think maybe as you get to a certain age where you think, I just need to stay alive.
Yeah.
I'm staying alive. There's people depending on me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you know, gym work mainly.
Do you have
3 days a week if I can?
Yeah. 3 days a week is actually optimum.
That's pretty good, right?
It's actually, you shouldn't do any more than that.
Oh, is that what they say?
Well, basically, I mean, I suffer from horrible confirmation bias syndrome.
Yeah.
Which is where I'll read whatever studies back up what I think or would like it to be the case.
Sure.
But apparently 3 times. So apparently, if you go once a week, that's a lot better than not going at all.
Sure.
2 times is there's a big proportional advantage, and 3 times is the maximum at which you are experiencing a big difference.
Well, this is this is the same way I feel about winning BAFTAs. Despite what AI would say.
Yeah, up to 3, people are excited,
exactly.
and then after that they go, it's actually
yeah.
getting boring.
Yeah.
Do you? How much do you genuinely value awards?
Well, when I first started out, because The Office was the first thing I did, and we won a lot of awards, I thought, well, this is what life will be now.
Yeah.
I'll just be perpetually winning awards.
Yeah. You came in hot. Yeah.
And then subsequently, I've discovered it's much harder to win awards than you might think.
Yeah.
And so now, it's not that I put any stock by them in terms of validation. You just think, that'd be nice to win another award.
Yeah.
So it's more just, it's nice to be thought of, Romesh.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
absolutely.
But I don't, in terms of whether it gives me any kind of real sense of validation about what the work is, or that it kind of it suggests that you are the best. None of that.
I mean, the idea of it that you're the best is
absurd.
Yes, it is. In this area, although if you were talking about the best, The Office certainly has a place in the conversation.
I didn't want to say it, but I appreciate you saying that. But no, I think we'd all agree that we were the rightful winners those 3 years in a row. but since then, when I've not won, I've definitely thought this is all a farce.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'd put no stock by them. How about you? Were you a big award winner?
You've
hosted some.
I've hosted a couple, yeah. Actually, I've never said this before, but the second one didn't go great. I didn't think. You're not supposed to say this publicly.
As a host, or
as
just,
a host,
as accepting it.
The first one, I don't know if it's part of the excitement of like we're being asked to host the BAFTAs. We knew it was going to be a tough gig because the audience is, it's not the easiest crowd, and also their interest for most of the people is what their specific category is. They don't really care about anything else, and rightly so. Why should they? But and so we were really buzzing about the first one, and I think because Rob and I, we had a little bit of a dynamic and stuff, and it was really fun. And then we got, I wouldn't say cocky, but I think we thought, okay, we sort of know how to do this. And then the second one was a long, ongoing illustration that we didn't know how to do it. It was much tougher.
How do you characterize? You mean the laughs weren't landing? There was visible heckling?
I think you underestimate how much material you've got the first time you do something that is no longer available to you the next time you do it. So we had all of this kind of reacting to doing that. Then the second time, you can't really be too resistant because you've asked for the gig again, right? You've accepted to do it again.
Yeah, you can't do that. What are we doing?
Yeah. This is mad. The BAFTAs.
Exactly.
12 months ago you were doing it. So,
but actually, I think I was at both of those. And if it's any consolation, I thought you were shit both times. No, I joke about it. But honestly, as someone in the audience, it seemed like it went great both times. I didn't sense any.
I didn't enjoy it the second time. But then there's that weird thing. I don't know if you've ever had this. Although based on your crowd, I don't know if you've had anything go badly like this. But afterwards, the people around you going. It's good.
You looked sharp. You looked great.
Yeah. The
tux was.
Yeah, your flies weren't undone at all.
Yeah.
You smell good.
Well, yes, but I was at I think it was the film BAFTAs, and I'm not speaking out of school because it was in the papers.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the one you were hosting, but it was. Do you remember when did you read about this, or maybe you see it, that Mark Hamill? So Mark Hamill from Star Wars came up to present an award,
and his trousers
started to slowly fall down. They just started to slip down, and of course, I think what happened on TV was they crashed the camera in tight, so it was just on his face, so you didn't really see. But we're there in the auditorium, and you're about to see Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, for real, and you've both kind of, it's weird because if you're of a certain age, he's the ultimate hero,
of course, yeah,
and you just thought, this is the worst thing you could imagine. That fear of sort of the anxiety dream of being naked on stage in front of people. It was happening to poor Mark Hamill, and his trousers slowly, and then he was sort of grabbing them and trying to pull them up while still presenting the award.
I know.
And I thought this is, and I thought it was brutal that they didn't let him do it again.
Yeah.
Surely just
yeah.
Take 5 minutes after to retake that.
I think you just go, look, we all know what happened.
Yeah.
His trousers were falling down.
Yeah.
But it's Luke Skywalker, and the Joker.
Yeah.
Let's get him back in, and we're just going to do that again.
Yeah.
And do us a favour, don't tell anybody.
Exactly. That's what it should have been. And I really thought that's what was going to happen. And when they just well, that's the end of the show, and they wrapped up. I thought, well, why poor Mark?
I know. I had a thing when I was a teacher. And I'd bought this.
Your trousers came down. That's what you keep telling everyone.
Yeah.
My trousers just fell down.
My trousers repeatedly, like every lesson. It was all right, like when I was walking to the lesson.
Yeah.
But every time I went in, just suddenly my belt unbuckled and my trousers around my ankles.
I don't know what it was.
No, I was sat on the desk as the kids were about to come in, and as
you were one of the cool teachers.
Barefoot.
Sure.
And as the kids came in, I stood up.
And as they came in, you just were like, yo.
You can call me Rom. Mr. Ranganathan is my dad's name. As I stood up, the desk caught the crotch of the stitch of the crotch of my trousers, and the whole underseam just completely came undone. And so it was just all the trouser legs were flapping all over the place.
Yes.
So I just had I said to them, immediately I was like, okay, this is a problem, but I need to get on with the lesson. So I just gave them a 10-minute amnesty to sort of say whatever they want, to make whatever jokes they wanted to make, and talk about having that wanted to, and then we'd get on with the lesson. Obviously, it didn't work. They carried on talking about it the whole time. But did you sort of bedded yourself in with the class enough? They knew me, yeah.
Right, because it strikes me that if this had been like day one, you'd never recover from that,
day one, I'm not just saying this. This is genuine. I'm not saying this for comic effect. I would leave the school.
Yes,
you have to.
Oh, 100%.
You can't assert any authority. It's over.
I remember there was this is I forget what age we were, probably sort of early teens, and we had a teacher, and he came in, and we discovered he loved his cat. I think he was a bachelor, and he loved his cat, and somehow he'd let slip that his cat had been run over.
Right.
And so one of the meaner kids, before he came into the class, drew a picture on the chalkboard of a cat being run over, and he came in. And
that's difficult to recreate in chalk, to be fair.
Well, he came in, exactly, and it was good. And he came in, he saw it, he burst into tears, he ran out, he was done for. And every time he'd come in and there was no authority, and of course, as soon as he'd turn, he'd go, and he'd turn his back, and everyone would go, meow. Because it was like kids just knew. No one got together and had a committee meeting and said, we're all going to do meow. It's just like you knew that that's what you had to do now.
Yeah.
And he found out who it was, and the cruel thing was, it was an art class, and it was a good picture. And he had to give him a detention and an A+. It was so cruel. But I think, like you say, he had to go into like the witness protection or something in the end, because
of course you do. Yeah,
you're done for, aren't you? And it seems to. It was like my sister, who was 4 years younger. She knew about it by the time she came to the school. It somehow becomes folklore. It's awful.
Part of the problem with that is that the authority of a teacher is fake.
Yes.
It's we're all participating in this illusion that you have to do what the teacher says, right? And as soon as they see any crack in that veneer, you're done for.
Well, that's society generally.
That's true.
I mean,
that is true. That is true. But I remember the reason, because it happened to me when I was teaching in a really good school. And then I deliberately, because I've watched Dangerous Minds and I thought I want to be Michelle Pfeiffer. So I moved to this school that had just come out of special measures. And I was teaching this really difficult class. They were the most difficult class, notoriously, in a difficult school, in a challenging school.
And they want, it's Romesh Pants Down. We know you.
we know why you got kicked out of the other place, you pervert. But this kid started just being quite mouthy, like in the lesson. And I said to him, if you keep talking like this, I'm gonna have to kick you out of the class. And he says to me, I don't want to be in your fucking class. And then I was like, well, that's a fair point. Yeah. Because all of this works on the assumption that you want to be in this room.
Yes.
If you don't, then I said to him, well, I guess go. I don't know what to do.
And that's why we should bring back the cane.
I agree. I agree. I agree.
And
I think the promise is it won't be visible marks.
That's right.
But they will know.
They will know that it's in a glass case above the chalkboard.
One of the parents came in to parents' evening and their kid was like really badly behaved. And I said, it's really difficult discipline-wise. And he said, why don't you hit him?
Right? You have my permission.
Yeah, he said, why don't you hit him? And we said, well, we're not... obviously alarm bells start ringing.
Yeah.
But you sort of go, well, we're not actually allowed to hit the children.
Yeah.
And he said, what if I gave you a letter saying you're allowed? I know.
Wow.
And then you
said that would be really useful.
Well, what I did think was quite useful is to like sort of a Schrodinger's cat where I pretend that there is a letter in a drawer. And so the discipline becomes opening the drawer.
That's good.
Do you know what I mean? So then he's like, oh my God, he's going to look at the letter and see the exact details of the beatings that he's authorised to give me.
Do you know, but you never had to do it. And so because teaching in a rough school, like you say, Dangerous Mind style, that seems one of the most terrifying jobs. Because my own experience of school obviously is being there, and it just felt like it was like the Battle of the Somme. as a kid, and you're marching forward, and your friends are getting taken down around you by bullying or abuse or being ostracized, and you can't look left or right. You've just got to keep marching forward. You know what I mean? Hoping that you don't get taken down next. And,
that's such a good description of what the school experience is. Yeah.
So that's it from a sort of kid's point of view, a teenager's point of view. But as a teacher, is it stressful in that same way?
It is like incredibly stressful. I thought it was really stressful, and that's why actually, I never get stressed about the job I do. People often say to me, "How come you're so?" You don't seem to get worked up about the job you're doing, and that's because there's been not a single day of my life in this job that's even approached, come close to the stress I experienced as a teacher. But the stress comes from because you really want the best for the kids, and you go to teach in a rough school without getting too worthy about it. But they were really difficult children. But then you look at their backstory, and you go, that is what I understand why you're being difficult. It's amazing that you've even rocked up here to be in the room, so you can't get too shitty about it. So,
as you were saying that, Coolio's Gangster's Paradise was running through my head as you said that.
I'm 23 now, but I live to see 24. Fun fact for you, he was 32 when he said that. There you go.
I wouldn't say it's a fun fact, but it's definitely a fact.
Now, we've actually got a gift for you.
Oh, okay. Fine.
We don't know... I don't know if you're going to like it or not, but I do. It's nice, isn't it? Nice, so on Desert Island Discs, did you enjoy Desert Island Discs?
I did enjoy it. Yes.
Did you feel? I found it quite nerve-wracking one night. Did you find it nerve-wracking?
I didn't find it nerve-wracking, but I found it very hard choosing the songs.
Right. Yeah.
And so I ended up doing it from more of a chronological, slightly semi-autobiographical.
Yeah, I think it's impossible to choose. You can't choose the best songs from your life.
No,
you can't do that.
No. So I thought I'd try and do songs which had something like a story I could pin it to.
Yeah. So your luxury item. Do you remember what your luxury item was?
No idea. I can't remember.
It was a piano.
Oh yes, yeah.
And so with that in mind, because you basically said you were going to try and teach yourself the piano.
If I was on the desert island.
If you were on the desert island, yeah. I think you said on the desert island or in a podcast I wasn't sure about.
Sure.
So with that in mind, we've actually could we reveal the gift?
Oh my God!
It's a mini grand.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's we're playing fast and loose with the word amazing, but
no, it is amazing though. The thoughtfulness.
Yeah. So that's the piano, obviously. We actually have been practicing on it. It's not.
The problem is I don't. But I also can't play anything. So
yes, we've got you some. So you see the letters.
Oh, I see. The letters
and then
are there.
You can play. Would you like to have a go at row, row, row your boat?
I'd love to have a go at that. Yeah. Hang on. Let's start again. Oh, hang on. How do we know which C it is?
That's a good point.
Would you go low C? Does that sound like row, row, row?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it did. It really
I was
did.
concentrating so hard to make a bit of podcasting magic that I didn't even hear if it worked. I appreciate it. That's lovely, and I look forward to taking that to a charity shop on the way home.
I mean, look, the honest truth of it is...
No, that's great. That's really thoughtful.
The honest truth of it is you don't have to... I mean, the one thing that we're slightly concerned about is it's quite a cumbersome item to...
It is to take on the bus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me think about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to diminish the thoughtfulness of it.
No.
It's really sweet of you.
Yeah, you're recognising the thought, but you know, everybody's got too much stuff.
They've all got too much crap, haven't they? And but I do think not being able to play an instrument is one of the great regrets.
Really?
Of my life.
Did you ever try?
I tried a little bit to play the guitar, and I did try to play the keyboard. But again, teaching myself. I sort of wish, like you were mentioning about the parent that you spoke to. I wish my parents had been more disciplinarian about making me learn the piano.
Yeah.
You know, and a teacher slapping my knuckles with a ruler and just really forcing me to do it.
What? Without diminishing anybody that's learnt the piano. How do you think it's affected you? I mean, like, why do you want... Like, cause I understand wanting to learn another language, because I think doesn't it do something to the neural pathways in your brain or something like that? But in terms of learning the piano, why did you want to do that?
Well, I think there's something about it. When I look at people playing an instrument, it looks like they can just lose themselves in it in a way that looks really enjoyable, in a way that looks like they're slightly switching off.
Yeah.
They're sort of their brain for a second and just losing themselves in the playing. And the closest I have is when I'm playing a particularly intense game of online chess.
Yeah.
Where I'm purely focused on destroying, some 11-year-old in France or wherever they are. And I think that's what I would like, because it just feels like everything I do from a creative point of view just takes a lot of kind of conscious thinking. I'm not saying that music doesn't take that, but there seems to be there's not many jobs where you can go on stage and you can be off your tits. You know what I mean? And still get away with a 2-hour concert. And music seems to be one of those things, because it's almost an instinctive.
It's so in you.
It's in you. It's in your DNA.
But they talk about it. They call that like flow. It's flow state.
Is that what they call it? Right.
Yeah, where you're just like, and I think jazz musicians call it like being in the pocket.
Yes.
Where you're just kind of
amazing.
And then apparently, as soon as you become conscious of it, you lose it.
Of course.
But it happens in comedy, right?
It does sometimes happen. Yes.
I don't know if you've ever had it. Obviously, you're like such a brilliant stand-up.
Thank you.
But when sometimes I'm saying that it's happened to me maybe twice in my life since I started doing stand-up. But there's a moment where you just feel like you're not even thinking about jokes.
That's right.
It's just you've tapped into something.
Yes.
I went to click with that hand, and then I was so in flow state I forgot that I can't click with my fingers with the hand. But you're so in the thing that everything, it just feels like funny's like falling out, and then as soon as you go, this is going really well, then the next thing you say is shit. But
but like you say, it's quite infrequent, I think.
Yes,
reaching that, because there's normally too many other variables that you're juggling. Isn't there? Whereas, like you say, that being able to get into that flow state.
I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to engineer that, because I was
in comedy.
Yeah, because I just thought flow state feels like, there must be a way to make it like. Could it be a thing that I experience? Could it be a thing that I experience regularly? And I mean, I did a little bit of looking into it, and the truth is, it doesn't seem to be. There's things that you can make it more likely.
Oh, go on.
Like simple things like being well rested.
Yeah.
And looking after yourself, and then also being sufficiently prepared that your brain isn't getting taken up with the actual mechanics of doing the thing. So you have to be accomplished at it, and then that enables the kind of environment in which you could do it.
Well, actually, now that you say that rings true a bit in terms of the limited experience I've had. I did a play, and once you've learned the lines so well that they just roll out if you don't even think about it.
Yeah.
You can find yourself in lengthier scenes, just sort of in that moment,
right?
And you are just sort of, there's a pleasure in just being kind of detached from anything else.
Yeah.
And you're not thinking, what's the next line, or I must go over there and now I have to lift the cup, and you're just sort of doing it. You're living it, but it's not you.
Yeah.
And that's pleasurable.
How easy is it to get to that? Because
really, really tough. And I know you're doing a play, and it's incredibly hard and very stressful, and I'm not sure you're the man for the job. No, it's no. Well, I think it's because you get time to rehearse, which you just so rarely do in TV.
Yeah.
And film and TV, it's like you show up and it's kind of like, this is the woman playing your wife of 30 years. Nice to meet you, Barbara. And action, Whereas at least in a play, you get maybe 3 or 4 weeks of rehearsal, a month of rehearsal or something.
Yeah, that is hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Stand Up to Cancer. 1 minute you're bawling, the next you're belly laughing. And that's exactly the spirit of Stand Up to Cancer. This year, they're back. And Channel 4 is putting on another brilliant night of comedy, stories, and science on Friday, the 12th of December. Every day, Stand Up to Cancer scientists are working tirelessly to beat cancer. But lab research alone won't get us there. The money raised helps fund clinical trials and research programs that turn incredible discoveries from the Petri dish into brand new tests and treatments for people who need them right now. Your donations could help speed up those breakthroughs. Now, speaking of fundraising, when I was at school, we did this charity fun run, which sounded lovely until you remember I absolutely hated running. I don't now, I'm a full athlete. But I made it about 200 metres before deciding the best way to raise awareness was to lie dramatically on the grass like I'd completed a marathon. Still got sponsored somehow. One of my proudest early achievements. So if this show managed to make you smile today, even just a little bit, maybe keep that good feeling going and support Stand Up to Cancer. Head over to standuptocancer.org.uk and donate today.
Can I just say before we get into, we're going to talk about your Christmas film, but I just want to say thank you for The Office, man. It's
thank you.
It's
the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
certainly to my bank account.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've had an absolute result, but I don't. I mean, look, I don't know if you get sick of hearing it, but it's such an amazing show, not only for what it is in and of itself, but also what it has done to comedy. There are huge branches of scripted comedy and actually stand-up that have been so heavily influenced by The Office. You made something that changed the landscape of comedy. Like, how much do you engage with that, or do you have to sort of not engage with it, or were you aware of that at the time? You know, like, what's your relationship with all of that?
Well, it's very nice of you to say, and I appreciate those kind words. I think at the time it was just the excitement of making something and being relatively left alone to do it, and just being governed by your own taste and what we wanted it to be. And it's
an unusual thing to happen, that, right? Isn't it? To be left alone to that degree.
I think certainly it is now.
Yeah.
I think it was very low budget. There were no star names.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember anyone from the BBC even visiting the set, which is extraordinary.
Yeah.
And they just sort of let us get on with it, really. And so, you know, each time, I remember thinking, you know, we discussed, should we have music in it? Should we have a voiceover? And there were various reasons why we didn't, and we took them out, and they all seemed to be the right decision in the end. And so it was, but at no point were you thinking, oh, well, let's try and reinvent the wheel, or let's try and do something, you know, new, or it wasn't.
You weren't conscious that you were doing something different?
No, it was very much more about, well, we wanted to convince you it was a documentary.
Yeah.
We want you to think it might be real, that you could switch this on and you might think it's real. So we're very obsessed about it feeling real. And of course, you look back now and you can see the sort of the joins, and you can see the comedy shtick elements of it. But at the time, we were trying to be very scrupulous about the realism of it. So those were all just they weren't kind of this will blow the doors off at BAFTA. You know what I mean? They were just it was just, well, this is what would be interesting to us, and so all the decisions were just sort of creative ones rather than kind of with any premeditation. So the fact that it has then been regarded as groundbreaking or whatever, to us just seems a surprise, I think, because I think we were also thinking of the influences on us, you know, whether it's Spinal Tap or The King of Comedy or the film The Apartment. There's lots of different influences that fed into it. So we're sort of seeing the shoulders of giants that we're standing on, not thinking about it as something.
But then the fact that you made it so much like a documentary meant that people didn't get it when it first came out.
Right.
Did your asses go at all when that happened, or were you still that convinced in what you'd done that you thought this will come good eventually?
Well, I mean, I have said this before, but I was on a train a few days after the first episode aired, and there were two women sat opposite me. They obviously didn't know who I was. I wasn't on the show. And one of them said, "Did you see that documentary last night? The boss was hilarious." And the other woman said, "Although, no, that wasn't a documentary. That was a sitcom." And the first woman went, "Oh, well, it wasn't very funny then." And just changed her tune immediately. But I think it was just such a slow burn, and I think we just didn't have any sense of we didn't have any frame of reference of what a success was and how many viewers. And I think there was some quite nice write-ups, except for Victor Lewis Smith in the Evening Standard, famously. But other than that, people were generally like, "Oh, this is worth giving." And then I think then we got some BAFTA attention, and so it quite quickly, even if people weren't watching it as such, the industry was going, "Oh, this is quite good."
Yeah.
So I think we felt at least validated from that quite early on, you know.
Yeah.
But the fact that it then grew into something else and became a sort of cultural touchstone, and then the American version, so that obviously was way beyond our imaginings.
I mean, it was. I mean, listen. I know that you'll have talked about it ad infinitum, but I just thought, obviously, it's so incredibly funny. I don't think there have been many kind of romantic storylines as well handled and judged as the Tim and Dawn thing.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
man.
I'm very proud of that. Because that was very important to me, that story.
Oh God, it's like note perfect. And you know, there's no point. You must have had this. You know, we've all watched so many like rom-coms or whatever, and all of these things where that's. And there's always a bit where you sort of have to forgive a little bit of. There's a touch too much schmaltz, or it pushes it too much in one direction. that Tim and Dawn storyline, man, it's unbelievable. Like it just is.
But I think
plays
that's
out
one of those
perfectly.
things where, again, the format of it being that fake documentary, what we realised was you didn't need to do much because these cameras were scrutinising these people.
Yeah.
You instinctively felt as a viewer that they couldn't quite express themselves as they would in a traditional rom-com where they can say anything to their best friend and they can you can go home with them and you can see or you can hear an interior monologue them telling them how they feel. None of that's available to you. So suddenly, if Dawn brushes Tim's shoulder, it's charged with extra romantic frisson, because there's cameras watching them.
Yeah.
And so it sort of becomes like a Victorian drama where, you couldn't express your true feelings because of society. And so everything was more heightened. So I think the audience naturally is leaning in more. And so tiny little things are very charged with electricity, which again is only something we discovered as we did it. Rather than thinking, you know what, if we do it as a documentary, the rom-com elements, you know what I mean? So it's, again, there's so many factors that just, of an alchemy that we couldn't have.
But the thing
imagined.
the thing that's so mind-blowing to me, with the whole thing, but particularly the Tim and Dawn thing, is it's very easy to watch it and go, they've pushed this in the right way, and, it feels like really engaging. When you're inside it, you don't know how much you might be doing too much, right? Without realising. Like, were there versions of it where you tried it and we've gone too far?
Like one thing we did was we tried writing kind of spiky, sparky, sort of back and forth conversation like you'd get in a rom-com.
Yeah.
And what we discovered was it just felt very written.
Right.
So what we would then do is we'd often let those actors improvise. We just give them sort of somewhere to chat. And what we found again was that them just chatting like friends just made it feel romantic, because that's what romantic people do. They're not constantly bantering. They're just hanging out and enjoying each other's company. And that, again, because the cameras are on them, it feels a bit sort of more charged than it was. So there were things we learned along the way, that we didn't have to write banter for them.
No, it's incredible.
But no, I appreciate you saying that, because that was always a very important part of it for me.
No, it's so good. And with the paper, what's your involvement with that exactly?
It's mainly cashing checks.
Is really?
Yeah.
That must feel amazing. That's like, I think, like, is it 50 Cent that said, when you truly made it when you're making money without actually having to do any work. That's where you're at.
Well, with the paper, they were very kind in sort of involving us and looking at the scripts and letting us, watch the table read, and things like that. But
do you get what's the level of reverence when you turn up to the table read?
Well, on that instance, we watched it on Zoom because it was in LA.
Even more powerful.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just
a face on a screen. Yeah, but it's muted, so they don't even know if you're laughing or not. No, I remember going to the original office when they did it, and there was a sort of nice respect for us, which was lovely. But again, it's sort of, to me now, it's like it must be the same again. Going back to music, if you've written Wonderwall, there are so many people doing their version of Wonderwall that you're just pleased that they like Wonderwall.
Yeah.
But you're not sort of scrutinizing every adaptation of it and every version and cover version of it. You're just, sometimes you go, oh, I really like that version of Wonderwall. But it's sort of, it's its own thing now. It's like it's a standard.
Yeah.
It's a musical standard that people
could
can
have
interpret.
you could have gone the other way though, couldn't you? If you were so inclined and be really pernickety and sort of, you worked so hard on those characters and that setup.
Yeah.
You could have gone the other way and been really precious about it.
But that was just something I had observed at other times. They tried to adapt British shows, and the original creators had been involved, particularly on an American version, and they'd clung too much to their original. Right. And they hadn't let it evolve or grow or change. Because the thing about America is that even though we think we know it and understand it because we've been, we've so absorbed it, there's still so many things we don't, unless you grow up and live there, you just don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have known that, a pub quiz is not quite the same thing. It's not got quite the same association in America. They do have trivia quizzes, but they're not, there's something about a pub quiz here. And the competitiveness of it or whatever. And just little like when they did the French version of The Office, apparently sort of on a Friday it's quite traditional to just crack open some champagne, in the office, which again is such a unique. And I think it's sort of so that was one of the reasons why we handed it over to American people, because we just thought somehow we're gonna we might. And actually, the more they got away from our version and got into their own groove, I think the better it became.
Did you? So you enjoyed it because obviously they took it far beyond what the original British one did, and were you like really engrossed and like enjoying what they were doing?
I was enjoying it as like I'd won a competition where they said, Americans are going to make a TV show based on your idea, and you go, how about some guys in an office? And they go, yeah, no problem. And then each week they send you a tape of a show they've made, and you go, yeah, I like this. It's fun. It's amazing. It's sort of like I mean, we can't name him anymore, but it's like a Jim will fix it moment.
No, it's brilliant. Well, look, you're in a new Christmas movie this year, Goodbye June, directed by Kate Winslet, written by Joe Anders. How would you describe the film?
It's a very lovely, funny sort of comedy drama about a family with an excellent cast. I have a very small role. Kate Winslet was very sweet to be in extras about, I don't know what it was, 15, 20 years ago. And I got a call from her saying, hey, Merchant, do you remember when I did you a favour and was in extras? Would you do me a favour and be in this film I'm making and directing? And I was I tried to get out of it, but it's difficult.
Of course,
I owed her big time. And so so I'm only a small role in what is a very lovely film with an amazing cast, Helen Mirren and Timothy Spall and Kate herself and a great cast. And it's, as I say, just a very lovely sort of comedy drama about a woman who is a sort of matriarch and the family kind of coming together around Christmas to sort of deal with that. And it's just really beautiful. It's very, very nice. Kate's a brilliant director. It's so lovely watching her. Like, there's a lot of kids in the film, and I was watching her one day, and kids are obviously notoriously difficult to direct because they're kids, very young kind of kids, and they were she wanted them to go to this window and sort of look out at this fake snow that was falling. And she was hey, what do you run to the window? But of course they run off in a different direction. They do something slightly different. And in the end, after her patience of a saint, she just went, oh, please just do it. And I just thought, that's directing. That's directing for you. The times you want to say to an actor, oh, please just do it.
We had actually Ben and I were working on a Avoidance, and when I was in the scenes and we'd start like pissing about and like improving and stuff like that, and we'd start making each other laugh, I thought it was so charming. And like I just thought, oh God, the whole crew must just think, oh my God, there's comedy falling out of them. This is so lovely.
They're in a flow state.
Oh yeah, it's so until I was at the monitor and I was sort of the other side of it, trying to get this, like, watching. I wasn't directing, but just alongside Ben, watching two people do exactly that.
Yeah.
And your experience of that is very different on the other side.
It's very different. I mean, there are things. We put them on DVDs and they're online now of Ricky and I doing extras and just not being able to get through a scene because we're laughing about something. Or there's a scene where I'm supposed to be wanking over a nudie pen. You know, those pens where you turn them upside down and a woman's clothes fall off. Yeah. And I'm sort of hidden behind a desk and she catches me. And it's just and the problem is you get into this weird, it's like the hiccups or something. You just can't stop giggling and laughing. And again, you assume the crew are going, this is an absolute delight. But they're just thinking, we're never going to get to lunch.
I know.
That's all they're thinking.
And then you sort of walk off just looking around, going, is anyone going to cough?
And there's always there's like someone holding a boom above their heads and a guy holding a sort of reflective board. And they're just thinking, you bastards.
You self-indulgent fucking pricks.
Exactly.
Yeah. We've got a question from my mum, I believe. Now, full disclosure, I've heard this question. I think it's actually quite invasive.
Oh, okay.
So feel free to not answer it, but let's hear it anyway.
Stephen, this is Romesh's mum. You are so funny and handsome.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, have you ever thought of having kids and getting married? I'm too old, but there must be lots of women who would be very keen.
Is that the end? Yeah, okay, because she went up at the end as if she...
Well, this is interesting because it sounds like she's bought into the idea, which I've often used in work I've done, of being a sort of failed ladies' man or wannabe ladies' man, or sort of... You know what I mean? Or like hopeless with women, or often because I play characters like that, or I make jokes about that. Well, in actual fact, obviously, I'm one of the great lovers.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who knows me
think it's
privately, Romesh, can confirm that.
Look, I do think it's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is to just put this
Exactly. Put
fallacy
it
to bed.
finally. Yeah.
And by I say put into bed, I know that's something you've done to a lot of ladies.
There you go.
You know?
There you go.
Like I don't know why my
But
mum...
it's interesting because, again, I do think that I have a slight regret that I've leaned into that so many times. Like even when I did The Outlaws, I gave myself a character that was another sort of slightly hopeless, awkward, nerdy guy.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought, well, I'm writing this. I could have given myself a sort of suave James Bond-like character.
Yeah.
Why have I done this again? I'm sort of playing, and I'm just pandering to a perception of myself.
Yeah.
And when I used to do podcasts, I always leaned into that. And in stand-up, it was always funny to be, the guy who went on a bad date or the girl rejected him or whatever, because those stories have happened in the past and they're funny.
Yeah.
But they're the stories that was me when I was 19 and so I sort of now I'm sort of actually I would quite like to remind people that, like for instance, a lot of people
You've got something about you.
Well, not just that, but also people. It's like sometimes people have forgotten that. Oh no, I also wrote that and directed it and produced it, and there's a guy behind the guy.
Yeah, this is not the sum total of this person.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember like when I think when I really early on when I was doing stand up, somebody came up to me and said, I find it really brave how unattractive you're willing to make yourself on stage.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Because your natural default, right, or my natural default is that I couldn't ever write something where I'm being like the alpha lover or whatever you want to call it. I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it, and I don't want to do it either. And so then, like, I think, like, I've not had as prolific an acting career as you have by a long stretch, but like all of the characters I've played are sort of like they're a bit bumbly, or they're a bit like a losery, or they get angry and it's just like a bit tragic, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or they're just unable to express their emotions and all of that. And actually, the truth is, even though people know this is a work of fiction, you are programming people to believe that's who you are, right? When they watch that, and so they're just like, this is what this guy is.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because much as my real self is, I'd come out in a leather jumpsuit like Eddie Murphy. Yeah, of course that would express the real me. The confidence.
Yeah, sure.
The swagger.
Yeah.
But no, but the joking aside, you build a certain kind of image, particularly through when you do comedy.
Yes.
Because for some reason people they assume that's you, and whereas if you're an actor, you can keep it a bit more abstract, and keep it more vague. And I remember, like, again, I don't want to name people that that bring controversial names into it, but Woody Allen was a big influence on me growing up, because and he also played that kind of awkward, nerdy guy or whatever. And I sort of see interviews or films later where he kind of moved away from that, or he tried to do drama, or he was in interviews being very earnest and dry. And you think, where's the funny nerdy guy? And you realise, no, because that's not him. It's a shtick. And he's a thoughtful, smart, brilliant, writer.
I remember thinking that about not in the same way, but Sylvester Stallone is like such an articulate, smart, like really, but you saw him playing these. Well, Rambo was essentially mute.
Yes,
and Rocky is kind of this like real simple guy, sort of. And then I remember the first time I read an interview with him, I was like, is this Sylvester? How can this be Sylvester Stallone?
Well, the fact that he wrote all the Rocky films, he's directed some of them, and he's written many of the other things he does. I think, just the idea of Sylvester Stallone sat there writing a script is just extraordinary. You just imagine him like with his shirt off, sweating. It's kind of extraordinary.
Just pounding eggs.
That's right. Yeah.
So you said Woody Allen moving across, but you've made the move into sort of drama.
I'm really enjoying that. Yeah.
You're in The Walking Dead, aren't you?
That's right. Yeah.
What was that like, and how did that all come about?
Well, yeah, I did I'd done a bit in a film called Logan, where I played a sort of giant mutant.
So good.
Yeah, it was a really good film.
So good.
Really good film, that. And then that really gave me a taste for sort of stepping beyond comedy, because I don't know about you, but I didn't start life as an actor. It wasn't my first thought.
Yeah.
It was being a stand-up or being a comedy writer. And so so I don't feel like I have the kind of acting armory. So each of these new things is like you're sort of trying something out for the first time, and so then the more I've kind of done some dramatic stuff, like you say, playing this serial killer Stephen Port, you're just finding it's exercising different muscles, and I've been really enjoying the challenge of it, the sort of trying to tap into other emotions. Sometimes it becomes quite rightly, because like in the case of Stephen Port, who's a real life killer, murderer, you have no sense of knowing what his motivation is or what his interior thought process is. So when we were doing some court scenes, we were recreating his trial. The whole time you're up there thinking, well, does he know he's lying? Has he convinced himself that this is how it happened? And you start having to sort of create a sort of internal logic for yourself just to make sense of it. That stuff became really sort of chewy and enjoyable and interesting.
Did you know to do that, or was that something that...
It was just the only way I couldn't figure out how I should deliver the lines without thinking, is he lying here? Should I be playing it like he's making this up as he's going along, or has he thought about them at home, and he's just any kind of logic to try and piece together how you might deliver it. And of course you just end up having to find those answers yourself, whether they're right or not. And I just found that, I don't know, I found it really nutritious and interesting, much like when I'm down the gym. It's the same sort of thing.
Absolutely. What's your protein strategy?
It's really tough. I'm 6'7". It's hard to get the sheer amount of meat into me that I need to. A lot of chicken. And it's tough. A lot of protein shakes. Really hard. It cost a fortune.
Very expensive.
6'7", and you're trying to get jacked.
That's why people are eating thousands of chicken breasts. It's the cheapest way to get it into you, right? But when you did Logan, in my mind, because I've not done anything like that, but I did, even walking onto any kind of film set, I did like a really small thing in something years ago. And you are very conscious in a way that you're not when you're doing a sitcom. When you do a sitcom, I feel like whoever's doing a sitcom, you sort of feel like you've walked into a load of mates, even if you don't know them. You've all got a similar sensibility, and you're working towards doing this thing that's a fun thing. And whereas when you go into a film, you're walking into this massive machine, right? And there's so many people doing all these things. Was it intimidating going on something like Logan?
It was intimidating. You're right. And again, I think because I knew it would be, I was trying to be as well prepared as I could in terms of the lines and things like that. But what's amazing is how quickly it becomes as familiar as anything else. So, you think, oh, this is it. I'm doing I'm doing a Marvel film, and it's superhero, and it's big budget, it's Hugh Jackman. And then, there was a moment where we were filming in Natchez, Mississippi, tiny little town in Mississippi. It was in the sort of sweaty kind of summer months. And I was in a hotel room with Richard E. Grant, not in a hotel, but in a hotel with Richard E. Grant. And everyone else,
for clarifying that.
We weren't in a room together. Yeah. I mean, and everyone was filming at night. And we weren't needed. They just had us on standby if they needed us. And so now we spent 2.5 weeks, Richard and I, never being used, just wandering around Natchez, Mississippi, where every restaurant, of which there were 2, closed at 3 p.m. So you had to get in early and get your dinner because you wouldn't be anywhere. There was no room service in the hotel. So now you're just like an old married couple, just wandering around. Never met the man before. And we're just sort of pottering about, antiquing. Eating together every day, running out of conversation. At one point we went to, talking of pub quiz, there was a trivia quiz. We looked forward to it. It was a diary entry. Look forward to that next week. And it came round, and we thought, oh, quiz night. And we went round, and we did the quiz, and no disrespect to the people of Natchez, but we were 2 of the smartest blokes there. and it got down, it was a tie-break situation, us and another team, and the question was, how many people survived the sinking of the Titanic?
Right.
Now, we should have collaborated on that question, but Richard was so annoyed at being in Natchez for like 2 weeks, he just wrote an answer and gave it in without even consulting with me.
Yeah.
We didn't get it right. I was furious, didn't talk to him for 48 hours. Livid. Well, you know what you did, Richard. I'm not even going to bring it up, but you know what you did. And I mean, all the glamour and sort of thrill and excitement of, oh my God, we're on a big movie production. And suddenly you get down to the kind of weird, mundane nature of making films. You still got to just fill your day when you're not needed. You're not, and I don't mean that. I'm not saying it in a oh woe is me. I'm just saying in a kind of how quickly you acclimatize to glamour.
Yes.
And excitement, and it just starts to become a job of work.
That's kind of helpful, though, isn't it? To disengage from the magnitude of
yes,
it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
But like, it was really exciting as a fan to see you in Logan because I'm a Marvel fan, and then obviously a huge fan of yours, and then I don't know how to. Like when you go, one of our owners like made it into. do you know what I mean?
Sure,
it's like it was really
exciting,
a really exciting thing, but obviously like you're big in America, right? And you've done that thing that I don't know. It feels like because of the more global nature of entertainment now, it feels like it could happen more. But British acts or British entertainers making it in America. It feels like a huge thing, doesn't it? Like,
right.
What's it like being big in America? Like, what is that like?
Well, I don't know that I think that I get opportunities in America, and there's certainly a portion of the audience that knows who I am. But I wouldn't say I'm a household name there. But it's exciting because it's to go back to The Office. I was just a fan of American entertainment growing up, and a lot of my heroes were American, and they worked in the American TV or film industry, and so to be able to go there and sort of be part of that, and to drive into Paramount Studios or whatever, and to and to know that before you went Billy Wilder or Bob Hope or Greta Garbo or whoever, it's just nice to be sort of part of that history. That's the thrill of it for me, because in the end it does all come back to, it's just exciting to be part of that, to do that for a living. It was the thing. I was a fan of it as a kid. I was a little bit of a historian of it as a kid. And then to sort of get, even from going to Bristol to London was crazy to me. Yeah. Walking around the BBC when they used to have that donut-shaped BBC building. Yeah. I remember going there when I was sort of in my early 20s, walking around and coming the other way, Noel Edmonds. Couldn't believe it. Noel Edmonds walking towards me in his little Cuban heels, carrying an attaché case, thinking, what's in there? I bet there's some gold dust ideas in there, isn't there? There's a new blobby spin-off in that, I bet, So exciting. Yeah. And so each step of the way, like then you go to LA for the first time, and I'm in LA, this is mad. And each step of the way, it's sort of not losing that excitement. Yeah. And then somewhere along the line, you're in Natchez, Mississippi. You go, for fuck's sake, fucking.
I remember like just the whole idea of. I remember the first time I got paid to do a weekend at a comedy club. Yeah. And they paid for my hotel. I think I jumped up and down on the bed. Yeah. I couldn't believe that me saying these bullshit jokes that I'd written had led to somebody going, we like that so much, we're going to pay for you to stay in the town. Yeah. So it's incredible. Amazing. Now, if the hotel's not good, I'm absolutely furious.
You're furious. You're kicking off.
It's
I know what you're like.
Yeah. That they would treat somebody of my magnitude. Yeah. Like that. Do you have ambitions left?
Yeah, many. I think. Yes.
Is there any what would you like to do?
I'd like to write and direct more films, right. And I'd like to do them in different genres. Right. I'd like to do a sort of action movie as a director. I'd like to do a, like a little indie award winner. I'm a fan of so much stuff, and you kind of you build your name in a certain strand of entertainment, and when you try and kind of transition to other areas, people are sometimes a bit like, well, hang on, are you sure? Yeah. And so I'm sort of kind of got an appetite for still doing so, and I still get up and I'm still excited to try different acting roles and to do more drama, and just I enjoy what I do. My dad, when I was very young, who is a plumber and a builder, and he said to me, he didn't always love doing that for a living, and he said, never do a job that you don't enjoy. And that really stuck with me, and I've always tried really hard to do that, and to remain excited.
Well, I know, I don't know if you remember this, but we bumped into each other, and you did say this when you arrived, but we bumped into each other. I think it might have been at the BAFTAs.
Sounds about right, mate.
And you said something along the lines of, I'm amazed you've got... I think I said I was going to the toilet, and he said, I'm amazed you've got the time to go to the toilet with the amount of TV shows you do.
I don't think I said the amount of...
I think it was something like... It was the number of shows, or something like that.
And, because I am amazed by your work ethic. Because I think I've got a really impressive work ethic, but yours is extraordinary. Well, I also don't have kids, as your mother rightly pointed out, so I don't know how you've ever seen them. I don't know how you do it. I genuinely would be interested to know, is it just diary management?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I don't think I've got the. There's times when I definitely haven't got the balance right, but you just try and lock off time with the family and protect certain months of the year and stuff like that. But I do think part of the problem actually in not achieving that proper balance is that none of it really feels like work. I've said this before.
It's all enjoyable.
It's all really good fun. So if somebody says, if somebody says to you, "We're going to pay you to do this thing that you would do for free," do you want to do it? Yeah, like 100%. I want to do it. And so that's actually, I don't have a good work ethic. Like if I was asked to do something that I didn't want to do, that was my job, I'd be considered one of the laziest people in the world. I am lazy, inherently lazy, but I'm just so lucky to have fallen into this thing that it doesn't feel like work to me.
But building a stand-up show, or if you write a sitcom or something, that's a lot of work. That's labour-intensive, wouldn't you say?
There are times when you sort of go, when you've got a deadline approaching, or you've got a set of, there's elements of all of it. When you get a set of notes on a sitcom script, I would say that's up there with some of my least favourite times, addressing notes. But to me, I sort of think, you're writing this thing about these characters you've made up, and then you're going to go and act. You're going to go and play that character. And what a laugh! Do you know what I mean? And then writing this. Don't get me wrong. There are times when I think it was on the last tour. I did a show in Cheltenham, and it went super shit, so badly that I phoned my agent and I said, "We've got to pull the tour. This is crap." Right? It's not good enough, and I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to. And that I did feel miserable. I just was like, I've got to rework this. Yeah. And then I remember,
you just did Rob's act the next day.
And then I remember speaking to Lisa, my wife, and I said to her, this is happening. She goes, "Are you aware that this happens every tour?" And I went, "What?" She goes, "Every tour, you do a show early on. And she had that tired tone to what she said. You come home and you say, I've got to pull the tour. It's fine. You'll move through it." Yeah. It was so horrible, sort of. You've achieved your dream of being a touring stand-up, and then you complain to your other half about it's not going exactly how I hoped it would. There are some details that aren't how I dreamed. So self-indulgent.
Yeah.
But so there are elements of it that are hard work, but I love it, man.
I think the thing I'm discovering, I'm not as prolific as I wish I was, and part of that is because I made my name as a writer,
right?
And so people tend not. Occasionally, obviously, I'll do some acting jobs here and there, but people think I write my own stuff.
Yeah.
And don't bother calling Steve. He writes his own stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I'd love it that someone had just written me something,
Yeah.
And it does sometimes happen. And sometimes, ironically, I'm writing my own thing and I can't do it. But as I get older, I'm just like, wow, that's a lot of time I've spent in my office writing, and I enjoy it. But it is exhausting, and it is time consuming, and it can be frustrating. And I remember years ago I did a film with Owen Wilson, who in his early career had written some of the films he was in, and they were really good. And I said, "Oh, why don't you write more movies, Owen?" And he said, "Because it's just hard work. And it takes a lot of time." And at the time I was kind of young. I was like, "What do you mean?" But now I'm sort of slightly getting like, "Oh yeah, no, you're right." But the flip of that is there is something so exciting. Some of the funniest moments, the happiest times, have been in writing rooms with someone else, Ricky or whoever it was, just laughing or getting giddy or excited about something.
Yeah.
And then when it does find its way onto screen, and and particularly if it's an actor that you admire delivering it or something, and that's the reward of being from a blank page. There was nothing, and now there's this show.
It's amazing.
That's very exciting.
It's amazing. It's magic.
Wonderful.
It's so amazing. We've got speaking of amazing and magic, we've got a little game for you.
Okay.
That we play with all our guests. Yeah. It's called Misquoted.
Oh.
And I'm going to read some quotes, some of which are things that you've actually said.
Yeah.
And some of them are false.
Okay.
And we'd love to get your take on whether you said this or not. It's Misquoted. Here's the first one. Good luck to you. Quotes, yeah. My only demon is I don't have any demons.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, correct.
That was the Telegraph in 2005. Yeah. So you don't have any demons?
Not that I'm aware of. In fact, as I do stand-up again, I get really... I'm very jealous of the comedians that have real demons to draw on.
Because you like Richard Pryor, right?
Love Pryor. And that was a man, as I mentioned in my show, actually, he was obviously a man, who grew up, in a bordello. I think his own mother was a sex worker.
Yeah.
So to have that kind of... And obviously, I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
No.
But it fueled that incredible kind of anger and sort of that was in the DNA of his stand-up.
Yeah,
it's just extraordinary.
I think I'm such a I think he's
unbelievable.
He's probably the best in my mind. The best there's ever been. And but then I remember I did a documentary. Sky did this thing like Passions, and my passion was Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
And one of the things we were sort of looking at was the fact that his background, although like you said, you wouldn't wish it on anyone. As a comic, you are kind of jealous.
A bit jealous. 100% jealous.
Yeah.
Every time someone tells me something like, I discovered at the age of 25 that my father's not my real father. I'm like, you lucky bastard. Oh, that's gold dust.
100%.
Not just for stand-up, but for writing, creativity generally,
And it's like it's rewired you somehow, and like it's messing with you in a way that's going to lead to some incredible creative thing.
If someone says, my mother's an alcoholic, I'm like, why'd you even bring that up to me? My mother will have a little tipple at Christmas, you bastard.
Okay, very good. Here's your next one. What I've learned since coming to LA is that they might be better at hiding their insecurities than some putts from Bristol like me, but at their core, they're all equally self-doubting.
Well, even if I didn't say it, it sounds like something I would have said, because I do think that's true.
You did say it.
I did say it, yes.
Telegraph again?
Yes.
20 years later.
I express all my big thoughts to the Telegraph. Are you going to read one about what I think of reform? I think he's got a lot of wonderful ideas. Yes, no, I do feel that, and that's one of the other things I think I've discovered. Which that what would you teach your younger self? Is that you realise the more older you get, and particularly the more you work with people that on the surface have it all, or famous or successful or whatever, that everyone's got their insecurities, and the truth is a lot of people have got those demons that they're running from, and that a lot of very successful people have a lot of trauma that they seem to be constantly running, or a black hole of something that they're trying to fill, and so it makes you both more understanding, and I think slightly less intimidated, because sometimes you'll sort of see a certain kind of behavior or the way that someone speaks, and you'll think, I see that's coming from insecurity, that someone's a bit arrogant, or someone's a bit of a dick, or that's insecurity that's leading to that behavior.
Yes,
and knowing that is almost like a tool that you can use.
Well, I think it just because I try and do that when you sort of think, where is that coming from? Because people aren't really arseholes.
No.
Like they are. That is come from some set of experiences they've had or something. They're defending their patch, if you like, as a result of what they've been through. And if you kind of appreciate that, I think just things become a lot easier, don't they?
Yeah.
You sort of...
Well, you don't take it personally.
Yeah.
You don't put it on yourself as much. You don't think, it's me.
Yeah.
You just think, how do I navigate around it? Or what do they need to feel secure?
It's still a thing that I don't like how this has gone.
Right.
But I don't now think you're a prick forever.
Right.
I just think you might, there's a reason for that.
Do you think that came from being a teacher that you're
I don't know. It's maybe a little bit, but I just...
just because you're a bloody wise guy.
I just think it's because I'm a really, really like informed, cool Dom. No, it was actually weird. This is such a wanky thing to say, but David Foster Wallace, he did that commencement speech where he talked about how we're hardwired to be the centre of the universe.
Yeah.
And he said, if you just let go of that belief, and he sort of gave a series of examples where you get cut up in traffic, or the person in front of you at a supermarket pays for something with change, and it takes ages, and you're just like, why is this happening to me? So if you take all of those instances and just put yourself in the position of that person might have had somebody is ill and they're desperately trying to get there, and that's why they're sweeping across traffic, and this person has just managed to scrape. He gave it was much more eloquent than how I've just put it. He said suddenly life becomes a lot more easy, a lot easier to navigate. Absolutely. Because you're not like, all of this shit is happening to me.
That's right. That's right.
It really changed my way of thinking about things. Smoked mackerel is Gert Lush.
Well, again, I don't know if I did say that, but I do love smoked mackerel.
You didn't use the Bristol slang, but you did express that sentiment on the Dish podcast.
Yes.
Which was, of course, serialised in the Telegraph.
Yeah.
But you love smoked mackerel.
Love a bit of
Good for you.
Yeah, there's the headline. There's the
There
pull-out
you go.
quote of the interview.
I was thinking, when are we going to get something clippable?
Yes.
6'7" is too big. Growing up, I spent as much time as possible in the distance.
That's right. Yes. Yes. Well, like I said, I
That's the Guardian, actually. So you'd moved across the political landscape.
There you are. I like to try to cover all my bases. I've just got to sell some bloody tickets. Yes, I do think, and again, I'm talking a bit about it in this new stand-up thing, about the fact that being 6'7" is it's the thing that sort of defined me in many ways when I look back. Because, as I mentioned earlier, like always sort of standing out from a crowd. And particularly when you're a teenager, you don't always want that.
Yeah.
You don't always want to stand out, And I never, I think Logan was the first time I'd shaved my head.
Right.
I didn't experiment with that when I was a kid. I didn't think, what it would be like if I just shaved all my hair off, because I was already standing out, or didn't get a mohawk or whatever. And so you realise that sort of a lot of what you do has been defined in some way by your height and it being the first thing that people notice about you, and like I say, not being able to sort of blend into the background, not being able to choose when you sort of announce yourself, as it were, when you present yourself. And so it is quite, again, we talk about demons, I'm not talking about demons, but it's interesting that the more I look back on it, the more I realise how it kind of informed me, particularly as a teenager.
Well, I think that I've said before that I don't think if I didn't have a lazy eye, I don't think I'd have ended up being a comedian.
Right.
Because it's as soon as people look at you, that's the first thing. Like if you talk to me for 30 seconds and then wandered off and somebody said, who's, asked who I was, they'd go, oh, it's the guy with the lazy eye. He's got a lazy eye. That's their defining thing about you. And so that informs how they interact with you. And then I think you then get a self-defense mechanism, which is humour, and you kind of your skills get sharpened in that way, in a way. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, it's weird, isn't it? Having that thing of that is how people see you. Yeah.
It's the Guess Who, as you mentioned. It's the Guess Who descriptor. They have to. It'd be hard for them to express that I'm tall, but that would be the thing. That it's that tall guy. Yeah. It's the guy with the lazy eye. That would be the defining thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, last one. I invited Carl Pilkington to stay with me in LA. He said, no, you're all right.
I don't think that's true. I don't think I've said that. I don't think I've ever invited him to stay with me. No, it doesn't sound like something I would do.
No, you're right. We made it up.
Yeah.
We made that one up.
Yeah.
You're very good. What was the score? Do we know? You got them all right, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well done. Really good. Really good.
Thank you.
Really great work. Stephen, it's been an absolute delight to have you on the podcast.
I really appreciate it.
The one thing we do ask of everybody, and you can also point blank refuse, is there an exclusive thing that you could give us that you've never said anywhere else? Do you know what I mean? That could make us go, I don't know, viral?
I might have said it somewhere else, but I'm going to say it because I think it could be clippable. If that's what you're looking for.
Great news.
I once made a porn film. True.
You were in it?
Well, I mean, I've given you your pull-out clip. We can dig into the reality of it, if you want.
Yeah.
You're happy to dig into the truth of it. But no, I did make a porn film. I wasn't the star of it.
Right.
I was the director and cinematographer.
Right.
And we talked about LA the first time I went to LA. The first time I went to LA was to interview porn stars.
Right.
Sky TV had got hold of some outtakes and bloopers from porn films. And they thought we can get 2 shows out of this. And it was called Porn Crackers.
Right.
And you know how there'd be shows where it'd be like a clip of...
That's a great title, by the way.
It's a good title. But there, you know how it'd be a clip of sort of, David Jason can't get through the door on Only Fools and Horses, and someone goes, "You plonker," or whatever, and it's a great clip. And this was basically porn stars, but one of them going, "That's the wrong hole," or whatever it was, and everyone, and they thought we can string this into two episodes,
right?
And so they had a TV host, but they needed someone to go out and report from LA.
Yeah.
And I knew someone on the production team, and I hadn't really done anything. I was doing a bit of stand-up, and so I landed the gig. And so I went out and I interviewed various porn stars, and I was at the home of this porn star couple who I don't remember the names of, but I remember she was a porn star and he was a former NASA scientist.
Right.
Don't know how they'd met. Don't know what, sort of social mixer that was. But they were. I was interviewing them, and at one point they just sort of got misty-eyed because they had cameras in their rooms in their house, so they would look at the watch and they go, "Oh, it's the 5 o'clock show," and they'd have to do something. So they disappeared upstairs, and I thought, well, am I supposed to? I mean, what do I do? I'm just sort of sat in their living room, and you don't want to sort of start rummaging around to make a cup of tea in a porn star's house. You don't know what you're going to find in the, in the cupboard or whatever. So I'm just sort of sat there, and eventually the husband appears and he goes, "All right, you coming up?" And I went, right. I didn't want to be impolite.
Yeah.
So I went up, and he was filming her, and she was on the bed, getting pretty fruity. And then he gave me the camera, and he went, "I'm going to join in." And he jumped on the bed, and now I'm holding the camera, filming them. I'm a pornographer now. I'm in LA, become a pornographer. That's how you slip into it, Romesh. That's how it starts. You're just a kid from Bristol. You're trying to make it in the show business, and you take a couple of wrong turns, and now you're making porn. And I didn't know. And I was thinking, what do people want to see? And I was like zooming in. Is this what? Now I need to go widescreen again. I mean, and after I don't know what the fans thought, but you know. But and that's the only time I've done it. But if anyone's out there and they need, like I said, I'd like to make an action movie. I'd like to do a lot of different things.
No, I think it could be in your future.
Yeah.
Please, can we give it up for Stephen Merchant? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Romesh.
If you've enjoyed this episode of the Romesh Ranganathan Show, make sure you follow wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the big ones, and you can enjoy more great content like this. And in fact, I'd go further to say, even if you didn't enjoy this episode, just follow anyway for shits and giggles.
And on the Thursday episode, we're going to be taking questions from viewers and listeners.
Oh.
So that's exciting, isn't it?
It's interesting.
Yeah. And if you've got an interesting story or a question for my mum and I, or even like a family dilemma you'd like us to help you with, please do get in touch via our email address, podcast@rangabee.com, or you can voice note or text on this number, 07731 62 33 55. I'm Romesh Ranganathan, and this has been the Romesh Ranganathan Show. What a narcissist. See you next time.
Oh, shut up, Romesh.